Welcome to a discussion of the Rotary Club of Shrewsbury Earth Day Recycle event, including Art Dobson and Janine Sands, and I'm Lori Jones. So what I'd like to do is have Art and Janine introduce themselves first. Art?
I've been a member of the Shrewsbury Rotary Club for 42 years now, and it seems like yesterday. It's amazing. And I still enjoy it. Very loyal to the club.
My name's Janine Sands, and I have been a member for about 3 months now. I'm one of the newest members at the Rotary, but I'm enjoying it thus far. So thank you for having us.
This is wonderful. I'm Lori Jones, and I'm a past president of the club and currently working on one of our community service fundraisers. It's our Earth Day Recycle event. And we're going to have a presentation and organization where, since Janine is so new and Art and I have been around for a while, she probably has some questions that the audience might have as well. So she's going to interview us with her questions about the event. So I'll turn that over to Janine.
Okay, thank you, Lori. So, can you first tell me about the Rotary's history? What makes this important today, and why is it important to you?
So the Rotary Club is an international charitable volunteer organization which began over 100 years ago. And our motto is service above self. So it's basically some people got together, some business people got together, and they wanted to be able to pool their resources to be able to help the community. So they were raising money and gathering supplies, and that's what we do today, to give back to local community as well as global community. And one of the very big global efforts that we've had for several decades now, I believe, Art, is the polio eradication. And it has had a global impact, and we, along with joining with other organizations, have been able to get it down to just 2 countries that still have polio. Wow. And we're still working on that. And as a Rotarian, we can go and collaborate with other Rotary clubs all around the world, or we can just visit and go hang out with other Rotary clubs and get a whole new room full of friends if you just want to go to another country and visit their Rotary club. That's what I like.
Sounds exciting. I'm ready for my ticket. Art, what about you? Now, you've said you've been a member for over 40 years. I'm sure you have many stories. So over the years, tell me about something that's been impactful for both you and significant for the Rotary.
Right. As Laurie mentioned, we are a sister club to the Kiev, Ukraine club, which is now in the news, obviously. I started probably 1987 through our Rotary Club member, Jack Collins. He presented to the club that he belonged to a exchange program called USSR, and it was an exchange program to Russia and their satellites. And he said it was very enjoyable, and he invited 25 members of this group to come and visit Shrewsbury, which they did. And it was one heck of a time meeting these people. Some spoke English, some didn't, of course. And we housed them at the pastor's house, which is now the Veterans Inc. on South Street. And we had a banquet for them after 2 weeks. I was the MC of the banquet, as a matter of fact. And they invited us to go to their place the following year. I volunteered to go, and I checked with my wife, and she said, fine. Well, I went. It was the most exciting time I've ever had in my life, to be exposed to international project. Briefly, there were 21 of us, 18 ladies and 3 men on this exchange program. We got there. We landed in Moscow.
In Russia.
We got off the bus. There was a lady guide who spoke English, and I'll be very brief. But I have to tell a story.
No, tell the story.
Please do.
I need to know.
And we got on a bus, and we thought we'd go to a hotel or something. She said, well, we're going to tour the city down. And we started off, everyone was exhausted after a long plane ride and everything, but that was fine. Here we are in Moscow, and about half an hour later, she asked us, would anyone like to go to church? And everybody raised their hand, and church, there's no church in Russia, or nobody went to church or believed in things. Well, she said she got permission for us to go to church. We went down the street, and we had there was a bus that couldn't travel this narrow road, so we had to walk about 2 blocks to this building. There's no sign, no crosses on it, nothing. We got in there, went up 2 flights of stairs, and looked out, and it was packed. There was probably 300 people in the congregation. The choir singing, the young and old, and military people, and it just blew our minds. Obviously, I'm a pretty religious guy, so there was a stage there. Obviously, it was an old theater. Mm-hmm. The first gentleman spoke Russian, of course. The second one looked up and said, "We welcome you, Americans, here." He said, "I'm a radio announcer in English every week on a radio." He said, "I will be giving a sermon today, and what I'll do, every 5 or so minutes I'll extract it, tell you in English," which he did. And it was the same message I got at St. Anne's Church every Sunday, and it was just beautiful. We stayed for an hour. It was a ceremony. He said it was a Baptist ceremony. And when we got up to leave, the whole congregation stood up and cheered us,
Wow.
So you and the Rotary just welcomed as soon as you got to Russia and worked with that club.
Right. And this was before we started the Rotary.
Right.
That was a couple of years later.
Oh.
Well, the second, I went 2 years in a row. I was probably the only one that went to this exchange program 2 years in a row. It was just as fascinating. And I could talk for an hour, but I'll...
All right. So just being involved with those projects seems like it's very close to your heart. So I'm glad. And that's where it just adds to, because we feel like we're sitting in a living room. So thank you, Art, for that. So Lori, what else does the Rotary Club of Shrewsbury have to offer? What do you do kind of locally in the Shrewsbury community?
Well, after Art's wonderful description of how we helped to start a Rotary Club in Kiev, Ukraine, then our local projects have been going on for many, many years. And some of my favorite ones, I've been a member for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And so it's been fun to participate in so many different kinds of activities as well. Just some of them, we provide funds to keep the library open one day on a Sunday, once a year. There are many other people who donate like that as well, but the Rotary Club provides the funds for one Sunday. We also provide college scholarships for high school students who either attend school here in Shrewsbury or live here in Shrewsbury. And this year I believe we have 3 scholarships for $2,000 each that we're giving out. We also, one of my favorites too, is a second grade literacy day, where the club works with the second grade classes here in the town of Shrewsbury. And in the Shrewsbury public schools, we provide books for each classroom, and the Rotarians as well as other community members come in and we read to the kids, and it is wonderful. They are so full of energy, and it's always fun to be with them. And Art can speak to one of the recent projects with the veterans that he
yes.
cheerleaded.
We authorized me to buy $50 gift certificates for veterans. And I gave the 50 gift certificates to Justin Souza, who is the veterans agent for the Shrewsbury, Northborough, Westborough, and Grafton veterans. And he was very thankful.
So, I mean, we're touching everyone from children in second grade to veterans to elderly. So that's just wonderful. So I understand that the Earth Day recycling event is a recurring event at the Rotary, and it's coming soon. So, can you tell me about the event from a member's perspective?
From a member's perspective, we all enjoy the event, and I particularly enjoy the event for the reason that it's not only a service project to help the environment, but it is also a fundraiser to help us with all of our other projects for the community. And we've been doing this for quite a few years. Right now it happens twice a year, and our next event is on Earth Day. Our Earth Day event is on Sunday, April 24th.
Okay.
And from noon until 3 p.m.
Mark your calendars. Okay, so how did it get started, the recycling event, Lori?
10 years ago, about 10 years ago, there were two gentlemen who had, I guess, worked with the railroad, and they were displeased with all of the trash that they observed along the tracks. And they started a recycling organization it's now called Recycling Services Group, and it's specifically pitched to Rotary clubs, knowing that our mission was to help the community, and they felt that we were aligned. And we continued to work with these gentlemen, Bob and Tom, and along the way we added a second recycling event in the fall.
Oh, wow. All right. So can you walk me through how is this customer going to attend the event, and what are they going to expect at the event?
Well, the event is held behind the Shrewsbury Town Hall.
Okay.
There's signs out in front by the street by Maple Avenue. There's go in one direction. They just pull up some lorry, or somebody looks in the car and said, "You only have this much of merchandise or whatever they have." And they said, "Fine." They write a check out or give her a cash, or I don't know if we take credit cards, but.
We haven't done credit cards.
Oh.
We usually cash or check, and it's usually at the spot where we have the check-in, so that everybody sort of evaluates the items that you have in the car.
Right. And then the car pulls around.
Okay.
We have 2 or 3 people unloading the car. People just stay in the car, and that's it. And they drive off, and with a happy face, and we thank them very much for giving us their service.
Absolutely.
It can seem like a lot of work and maybe even some heavy lifting. So how do you get such, great participation from the members at this event?
Well, I'm actually going to back up a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we take.
I want my kitchen sink in there.
Well, speaking of a kitchen sink, we don't take everything in the kitchen sink, but we take a lot of things in the kitchen sink, at least the right kind of kitchen sink. And one year, somebody brought us a giant metal kitchen sink, and we all still laugh about that. We don't take ceramics for the club. And it's on our flyer that we have a grouping of items that for $40 a carload, you would fill your items out of that list for just $40. There are some other items that we have to pay to recycle. So those items are a separate list, but they have to be priced separately. And then we have items we can't take at all. If you have less than a carload, then we actually have prices for like if you just have 1 or 2 items that you need to get rid of that we can give you, so you don't have to pay the $40 for the entire carload. It just depends. So we have that, and some of those items that you actually have to pay for, that we have to pay for, would be like TVs and fridges, and I'm sure most people have seen that in other places. And the whole club comes together because it's service above self. That's our motto. And we actually enjoy working together and socializing together, and sometimes we get to do that while we're having these fun events as well. So.
Right. And so how are we getting the word out as the Rotary with regards to this event?
We have bulletins. We're on cable TV.
I'll show the flyer.
We have the flyers. Yes, I believe they're going to show that.
Okay.
Yes.
And we have local newspaper advertising, and we're mostly. And people, we get, I don't know if we get the same people every year, but we get a lot of the same people who look forward to helping us, And I might add there's different groups in town that also have recycle events, but it's really not competition because there's 38,000 people in Shrewsbury. There's so many homes and turnover and everything, so everyone has their own share, and they have no problem with anyone else.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful event, and this will be my first year attending,
Oh,
so I'm excited. I'm excited.
We make all the new members carry all these things.
I'll be the one carrying the kitchen sink.
Art likes the kid.
Yeah, I'm only kidding.
So the other thing that we would ask is if it does pop up on people's social media, if they would be willing to share that for us to help us get the word out. That would be wonderful. And that way more people can help declutter their homes and help the environment and help with all the different activities to get back to the community that the Rotary Club does.
And there's so many, and so I'm glad to be a part of the Rotary. So thank you for having me. I would like to just end and share a few of my thoughts as to why I actually joined the Rotary. I like to join organizations that have a healthcare aspect to them of disease because of my background in healthcare, and also in the community where you live. I think it's most impactful for you to work with your community while stretching your hand outside of it. And so when I was invited to attend a Rotary meeting, I honestly felt like I was walking into my living room. I felt like I knew everyone there, and it instantly welcomed. And so it gives me a chance to be impactful with disease, community, and have a whole bunch of friends. So that is one of the reasons why I joined it.
And
So hopefully it came out here in this conversation. Thank you. You really do have fun.
That's great. Did you have any closing comments?
Yeah, on the things we do, I think one of the most important things, just a reminder of what you're talking about, is we supplied about 38 NICView cameras to UMass Memorial Hospital. And someone had mentioned that they only had 2 cameras, and our club and other clubs in the area, the Rotary clubs, plus some private citizens donated a lot of money to supply about 38 cameras to the NICView. And the reason I mention that is with the COVID the last 2 years, people couldn't go see their babies, but with the camera, they could just log in and watch it. It's so important, and it still works well. And I just want to mention that.
That's one of our big projects that we've done in the past, which was really very welcomed. And it was welcomed because not only the parents in the local vicinity were able to see their babies, but they were able to share the site with the grandparents or for family members who might have been overseas with the military. So it actually was became an international project, which was pretty exciting.
That is exciting.
And
it's
that
an
was-
immediate
that was
impact during a pandemic.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we've had a lot of wonderful projects, and we have more coming, which you might hear more about in the future. One of them, I'll just mention it now because I think they're actually wanting to tell more about it, is the community fridge. But I don't want to steal the thunder from anybody else because you can learn a lot more about that later. And I believe you've been working on that committee as well. And so in closing, I believe that what we would want to do is, first of all, I want to thank Art and I want to thank Janine. And I'd also like to thank Shrewsbury Media Connection for having us here today to be able to do this. And we hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Rotary, the Rotary Club, our Earth Day Recycle event, which again is Sunday, April 24th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. And it's at the Shrewsbury Town Hall on 100 Maple Ave. And please come out and support a great event that gives back to the community. And thank you.
Thank you.